Hello, dear student. This is Rajwant Singh, and today I am going to teach you the left portion of History, chapter first, when, where, and how of class 6. So, my dear student, let's start. I am going to tell you about the sources of history. I have told you in the previous video the sources of history also, but I have to remind this again. So dear student, listen carefully. Sources of history divided into two parts: archaeological and literary. In archaeological there are four parts: inscriptions, monuments, coins, and other objects and artifacts. And in literary portion, it has three parts: religious and secular texts, indigenous and foreign sources, literary texts composed in unknown script. So dear student, what is archaeological sources and how it discovered? Archaeological sources are discovered and studied under a separate branch or discipline of historical research called archaeology. That you know very well about archaeology in the previous video. It is the scientific study of the material remains of the past discovered through excavations conducted at various historical sites, monuments, coins, sculptures, paintings, weapons, pottery, ornaments, and all other objects or artifacts unearthed through excavations at historical sites or various sources. So, my dear student, these sources are often more reliable than the literary sources because they reveal facts clearly and without any bias. So, dear student, literary sources include a written form, and these are important as they record the cultural, social, political, and economic state of affairs of the period during which they were composed. Different scripts such as Brahmi, Kharosthi, Devanagari, Aramaic, Roman, pictographic, and etc. were used to compose these texts. So, dear student, there were many literary texts that were not written and used no script. They were transferred from one generation to the next orally. Let us now discuss the sources of history in greater detail. So first of all, we have to know archaeological sources. Archaeological sources can be categorized into different types of which inscriptions, monuments and coins are the most important. Now inscriptions, writing on pillars, rocks, cave walls, walls of forts, clay, tablets, metal plates, houses and tombs, etc. and etc. are called inscriptions. These inscriptions provide political and social information of the past. It spread the message about the past. So, dear student, we learn the names of the kings, the religions and cultural practices of the people and so on. So, dear student, the next point is monuments. We will know about monuments. Old buildings such as forts, palaces, temples, mosques, cemeteries, etc. etc., which were built for some special purpose are called monuments. The study of the old monuments show the artistic skill of that time, the social life, their religious beliefs, their culture, etc. etc. So, dear student, you know about the monuments very well, and Sanchi Stoop, the university at Nalanda, the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram, etc., are some examples of ancient Indian monuments. These are the some ancient Indian monuments. Sachi Stoop, the university at Nalanda, the Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram. That I have told you also. The descriptions of buildings, erected for religious or civil purposes, such as temples, stoops, palaces, and private houses, point to the conditions prevailing in ancient times. Monuments of identical character excavated in India and abroad establish a link between various areas of the globe, suggesting that people from ancient India reached foreign lands. So, dear student, the temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia is an outstanding example. Brahmanical, Buddhist, and Jain monuments help us to know the history of different religious systems in ancient times. So, the next point, coins. In ancient India, the coins were made of different materials such as bronze, lead, copper, silver, and gold. Through these coins, scholars gather information about the periods when they were issued as well as about the rulers who issued them. Coins inform us that many kingdoms of ancient India had commercial relations with other countries. So dear student, these are the informations about coins. Coins give us chronological information about a particular ruler, his or her domain of influence, and relations with other rulers. Roman coins discovered in India suggest that many ancient kingdoms of India has contact with the Roman Empire. And the next point, other archaeological sources include numerous objects and artifacts found during excavations such as tools, pieces of pottery, sculptures, paintings, ornaments, etc. etc. So, dear student, we have discussed about 4 points, and now we will discuss about the second, literary sources. Literary sources include both the written and non-written, you can say oral records of the past. Most of the literary sources are handwritten are manuscripts. Manuscripts contain invaluable information about our past and tell us about the social customs, institutions, classes, professions, religious beliefs and practices, etc. etc. So, my dear student, that prevailed in ancient times. Some of them describe economic, scientific, and political developments, thus offering fresh insight into the past that no other source does. So, dear student, these texts have been written in Sanskrit, Pali, Prakrit, or Tamil. They are now preserved mostly in monasteries or libraries. Literary sources can be of different types. So, dear student, literary texts on religious subject are called religious literature. The Vedas, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Gita Puranas and Jatak tales are the important sources of ancient Indian history. Literature that has no connection with religion is called secular literature. It includes poetry, drama, plays, travels, or accounts of foreign travelers, and texts on science, grammar, and politics. The Arthashastra of Kautilya on the theory of administration, Visakha Dutt's Mudra Rakshas, the literary masterpieces of Kalidas, Banabhat's Harsh Charita, etc. etc., are the examples of some secular literary texts of ancient India. So, dear student, the next point, indigenous and foreign sources. As we know, many foreign visitors came to India at different points of time. They closely observed the Indian way of living, traditions, practices, and people, and recorded their experiences in the form of travelogues, memories, and accounts. A special mention can be made of the Indica by Megasthenes, who was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. So, dear student, it provides important information about the reign of Chandragupta Maurya, the Mauryan capital city of Pataliputra and the society at that time. Periplus of the Erythraean Sea by an unknown sailor and the geography of India by Ptolemy are also well known examples of ancient Greeks' writings on India. So, dear student, literary sources with unknown script. This is the last point. There are some ancient literary sources whose script has not been deciphered so far. The Harappa script, which continues to be a historical riddle, can be cited as the most striking instance. The peculiarity of this script is that one line is written left to right while the next line is written right to left. Such a script is called Boustro-Fedon script. So, my dear student, that's enough for today, and I think this chapter is finished. So we will meet in the next video with a new chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.